demonstrator. Let's make sure you can see my chair. No, you can't. So I need to be probably up around about there. So let's have a look. I think I'm live. Can you see me? I'm just checking myself. There we go. Afternoon, everybody, and good morning for those of you in the States and wherever else you are. So let's pop this chat out. It's a bit easier. Plus that I didn't look at myself then either. All right. Well, I've got a lot to cover today. I didn't think I had a lot until I started looking, and then I've got too much again. So could be a long one today. You know, get settled in. I've got a bit of beer again, but you know, we done. Yeah, hi Gary. Hi Generalny Inspector. How you doing? Thanks for joining us again, everybody. Turn the mic up. Wonder I can do that. Gary. Anyone else got a problem with the speech? It might be because I was talking to the iPad rather than talking to you on the camera. Is that any better, speaking at the camera? Can everybody hear me? Do I need to shout? I don't think there is a facility to turn the mic up on the phone, actually. I think if I turn the volume up, it turns everything up, and I'm a little on the quiet side, am I, Gary? Apologies, I don't know why. I think it might be because I wasn't speaking to the actual phone, Gary. I was looking at the iPad and talking to that, so apologies for that. So we've got quite a lot to cover today. Thanks to everybody that's joining me, and thanks to those of you that have been in touch in the week as well. I've had some help off a few people this week, so I'll go into that later on. As I said, I've got a lot to cover. Now, the first thing that I wanted to cover was this Valve radio. Now, those of you that joined me last week, you're aware that I went up the pub twice, so thanks to Colin up at the Green Dragon there. A lovely lunch. We went up a little bit late. We got up there about 2:15 in the end, and we didn't get home till about 8:30. So unfortunately, I never got a chance to come back in and have a look at this Valve radio and the Zenith that I've got. So both of those are coming up shortly. Had a little bit of an issue late last night. My good lady was on her works do last night. Went into town, and I picked her up about 11:30. I think got home about midnight, and I'd left a bag of rubbish in the like landing upstairs here, so I just moved it into my workroom and knocked this Valve radio over, which was just propped up nicely. Unfortunately, a sod's law on the speaker that I'd repaired, and unfortunately it landed on the 3-pin plug. And this is the result. Unfortunately, I've damaged it. Probably, if you can see that, probably damaged that. No, I mean, it can be repaired still, but I certainly haven't had time to do that this morning. So what I had to do was quickly dig out another speaker that's the same. It's a 3-ohm speaker, this one. And the only radio that I could think of off the top of my head that had a 3-ohm speaker was the Roberts R200 and R300. So I dug one of those out, a spare one, and lo and behold, this one also had damage on it. So I've had to glue that this morning, so it's nearly gone off. It's gone off enough to test it anyway. But yeah, that's a bit unfortunate, that. So what we're going to do, and again, hopefully you can see this in a shot. I'll come in this way with a camera in a second. I'm going to use my lamp limiter, and again, I don't know if you can see this in the shot, but my lamp limiter's there. Look, currently loaded up with a 60-watt bulb, and a 60-watt and 100 watt. That confused me a little bit until I watched M Caldera's channel. Caldera, I think it's M Caldera. If you haven't seen his channel, a wonderful, wonderful channel, brilliant. Deals mainly in Volve radio stuff. But he does make his own bits of test kit, and he's made a new lamp limiter with all sorts of different functions on it, which is really brilliant. I'd love to make it, but that's another winter project. So that's my lamp limiter. I've got the radio plugged in. It's switched off at the moment. I'm in lamp position, and I've got a 60 watt bulb. Now, a 60 watt bulb gives you more restriction than 100. I thought it was the other way around. I thought 100 was better to start with and then go down to 60. But it appears that 60 is better than go up to 100. Afternoon, Cyberflyer. How are you? So that's the idea. I'm going to fire this one up. I've got my Variac and isolation transformer plugged in. I've done some basics on this to make sure it's not going to go bang. Well, I hope I have anyway. I've obviously repaired the speaker. I had to stabilize the frame antenna on the back. That had just fallen to pieces, so I've had to PVA it, varnish it, and all sorts. So hopefully that'll work. But I've literally have never ever turned this radio on, so you know it's probably a bit crazy to do it live, but I'm sure everybody will appreciate it if it goes bang. Which it shouldn't, because I have got the lamp limiter. I'm going to bring it power up gently, and hopefully it'll be nice and safe. So just let me quickly have a look at the back of the camera, just see what we've got in shot. Okay, yeah, I think if I get you down about there, I won't bother zooming in for a minute so you can see everything that's going on, really. So the idea is I've got my Variac down the bottom here, and it's all plugged in and switched on at the moment, but I've got 0 volts on. So I want to turn the power on to the radio. Need to have it in the lamp position so the lamp is in series with the radio. So if there is a dead short on it, that lamp will glow very bright, and I know I can switch it off. As far as the radio is concerned, we'll switch it on. I'm going to put the volume up max. I'm not really tuned into anything that I know, because again, I haven't tried it. But someone has been into this radio before, and you can see all these yellow caps that are in here. They've all been changed, so in theory, all the hard work's been done. Volves, I haven't got a Volve tester. Well, I have got a Volve tester, but I haven't had a chance to actually refurbish that one yet. That was another project. It was going to be this summer, but unfortunately doing my back in and having the back garden sorted, I haven't had a chance to do it this year. So I'm going to I'll leave this overhead light on for a minute, and we'll see how we get on. I'll bring it down so as it lights it up. But just a little bit about the radio then, I should have said. It is an Ultra. If I can find the manual on it. It's an Ultra Troubadour U626, 1949 LUT. So again, those of you that watch my channel, you know I'm not really a Volve radio man. I've shown you a couple before, but not a lot really. So I've only recently started getting interested in the Volve radios after restoring the Philips R23. So, anything more we need to know about this radio before I start? It's a 4 Volve and rectifier, so it's 5 volts, but one of the volts is a rectifier as far as I know. You're viewing the front of the radio, obviously all the valves are on the back. You can see that, as you can. So we've got a smoothing capacitor down here, and in preparation I have checked the ESR and the values on that, and it's fine. So we're okay on that. as I say, all the other caps have been changed. There's some weird and wonderful stuff going on with capacitors in the back, but I think it's because it's a strange value. So I think really, without further ado, we can start putting a bit of power on it very gently. So let's start winding it up. Also, I've got an ammeter on the bench variac down here as well, and the isolation transformer. So at the moment I'm on 3 milliamps at 50 volts. Let's see if I turn that light off. No glowing yet as such. Let's leave it sat at 50 volts for a minute. And for those beer enthusiasts out there, I'm on McEwen's Champion today, which is like one of my all-time favourites. It's a lovely, lovely beer. It's pretty strong, 7.3%, but then, you know, it is very nice. There's not a lot left of it. I think it's gotten a little bit too quick today. Right, just refresh that chat. Any other observations, or anyone want to say anything about this? Anyone know this radio? So looking good at 50 volts. Let's go up. Gonna leave it set on 100 volts for a minute. Okay, so it's drawing 5 milliamps at the moment. No sign of life yet. Let's just see if that lamp is lighting. No, it's not. There's one thing though that I didn't check, but then it must be okay because it's drawing current. I didn't check the fuse was okay in there. Ah, boo. Hi Paul, how are you, mate? Nice to see you. Got some of Paul's bits coming up in a minute. Not his actual bits, but some bits that he sent me. So that'll be interesting to see. Right, well, we're sat at 100 volts, drawing 5 milliamps. Still nothing. You see no valves glowing, so this could be a bit of a disaster. Let's just put my light off a minute. Again, I'm being careful not to stick my hands anywhere that I shouldn't. I've put these back on because this is potentially a live chassis radio. So I've not worked on it myself, so I'm not confident to be messing with it too much. But it seems dead as a dodo at the moment, which is not good, is it? So let's go up a bit higher. Okay, I've set on 160. Let's leave it there for a minute. Still can't hear anything. I'm hoping it is working because I don't want to have to go through all of that lot. I mean, the info I've got is pretty good, to be fair. This is from Paul Stennin's DVD, service-data.com. If anybody does Volve any radios, it doesn't have to be Volve. He's got so much information on that DVD. It's unbelievable. I don't know how many models he's got on it, but it's definitely worth picking up, definitely. And for what's on it, it's not expensive either. Okay, so we're set on 160 volts. We're drawing 8 milliamps. I mean, that may be down to my bulb restricting it. I'm on maximum volume. I think we've got a short there anyway, because that would have lit my bulb up by now. So let's go up to 200 volts. Leave it sat there for a minute. Oh, hang on. I can hear something. Yes. Make a model on the bench at the moment, Paul, is the Ultra Troubadour. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, Troubadour, from 1949. This is one I've done a little bit of work on, but someone else has actually replaced all the capacitors in it. All I've done really is well, I did sort of stabilize the speaker, Paul, but unfortunately last night I had a bit of an accident and broke it to pieces. So I've got a Roberts R200 speaker in there at the moment. Well, we've certainly got some noise, so let's have a tune. Okay, so I'm going to go up to 240 volts. Well, we have no reception, but it is working. You'll also notice that my my lamp is lit there, look. Yeah, that's fairly bright actually. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's fairly bright. What I'm going to do in a minute is I'm going to pop a 100 watt bulb in, look. See how we get on with that. Just grab a rag to take it off with, because it's a bit warm. Now these are rough service bulbs, you can still get these actually. Yeah, rough service lamp, so these you can still buy if you've got one of these lamp limiters. Right, let's go back on again. So look at my 100 watt bulb. So it's drawing 120 milliamps. It's not drawing massive current. There is a station in there in the background. That light's affecting it, everything's affecting it. Hello Mike, how are you? You're going to send me the... Alright, yeah, if you message me on Facebook, Mike, that's great. I'll sort you out that. Thank you very much.
However, I think what I should do
Well, that's working. That's brilliant news. So we can now go on full. So we're now bypassing the lamp and we're actually full 240 volts into the radio. Cheers, Paul. That just popped through, mate. So, yeah, I have got the info on it. I'll have a look at that, Paul. Yeah. Yeah, it's not actually that one, Paul. It's a U626, which is a little bit different to the one that you sent me the info there for. That certainly the light is affecting it, and it has got. I've disconnected the waveband switch, so it will do long wave as well. Just turn that light off. Apologies for the darkness. Let's just go back to my live feed. Just keep up, see, make sure we're not too dark.
Then our life is perfectly happy because this is good fit.
Right, well, as I say, I can't really test the long wave unless I can get a screwdriver in there and slide it across. Can I do that? Yeah, of course I can. Let's just get an insulated screwdriver to do that with. See if I can slide that across. Yeah. Ah, okay. I think I got that the wrong way around then. I was on long wave, I'm now on medium wave. Put this light off again. Formula One again today, look. Bit of Dolly Parton now here for you. Blanket on the ground. The aerial is very directional. Well, I have a working Volv radio. Look. There we go. So I've got a couple things to do to it. Still, I've got to sort of speaker out. I really need to see if I can actually fix this one. I think it's already gone pretty stiff where I've repaired it before. It's not got much movement in the cone at all. But I can still have a play with that. I might be able to sort it. Let's turn my bench variac off. One Ultra Troubadour U626 working. So it means really now I can restore it. I did scan the dial plate, and this is what's come out like. I don't know if you can see that or not, but basically there's quite a lot of the lettering that's nearly gone on it. It's just hanging in there. So what I've done, I've scanned it, and in Photoshop I've spent a long time touching that up. I mean, I've got to alter the color of the background. I've made that a little bit too light now. I just need to bring that up to a more creamy color like it is there. But that's an exact size. So what I'll be able to do is print that onto either some water slide paper, or you can actually print these and stick them on. You can print them onto laser overhead projector paper, film even. Yeah. Right, who we got on here? Vintage Electronics Repair. Hi Andy, how are you? How are you, mate? VHF Harold, Andy, yeah. I did. Andy, that video was so long, it took me 3 sittings so far, and I still haven't got to the end of it. I think it's nearly 2 hours, Andy, wasn't it? By single piece of speaker. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what the size of it, but it could possibly be reconed. Not something that I've ever even thought about doing. I think maybe what I'll need to do is wet it and free up some of this a bit, and I'll have to patch this in again with tissue paper, which is what I've done to this one here. And that's gone off quite nicely now, and obviously it does sound fine, but I expect this one's better. I mean, this is a roller speaker, this one is a Goodman's. It's a bigger speaker, so it, in theory, should sound a bit better. Right, well, let me just get this one out of the way then a minute. Hi Marky, thanks for joining me again. Let's get that speaker put safely out of the way so I don't stick my big foot in it again. So hopefully that's given people a bit of an overview of how to fire up a radio for the first time. Very, very gently and carefully, I think is the name of the game there. Right. Let's get all my rubbish out of the way. It's next to the Ultra. Okay, so what else have I got? So you'll remember the radio that I had in last week, the mystery Pam radio. Now it was a mystery because I couldn't work out what model it was. Now I've got it in bits here now because I have actually taken it apart. There literally is nothing anywhere inside it that says what it is. But luckily for me, Wenlock got on the case. And I've mistaken. Oh, no, Wenlock got on the case, and we found out it's a Pam 5215. This is from, I'm lagging here. This is from 1964. This is a supplement to the wireless and electrical traders, what they call the trader service sheets. I downloaded this off the internet, but I did manage to get on Paul Stenning's disc. Again, highly recommended. I did manage to get the original service or manufacturer's sheet for it, which is really useful because it goes into a lot more detail. It's got everything I could ever need on this radio here. So did I get it going is the question, isn't it? Well, I have been pretty busy this week with photography work, so I haven't had much chance to do any radio work at all. But it don't stop me doing some radio work. And I better go at this. I'm just going to quickly check the camera, see if we can get you in a little bit closer. Yeah, let's get you in. That's a bit better. So I've got a couple of screws to put back in there, but that should be okay. So yeah, yesterday I had a go at this. The first thing I did, you'll notice, let's get something to point with here. We've got some wires sticking up from these transistors. These are all AF117s, which are the Mullard ones that are notorious for having shorts from basically the can, the metal can, to the junctions of the transistor. And because the metal can also connects to this shield wire, you can basically dump your signal straight to ground, which makes the radio totally dead. So I lifted all three shields off of the circuit board, and it sort of came to life. I got my signal tracer out, and I checked some of the test points in here, and I did manage to get a signal, but it wasn't coming through to the speaker. Hi Tim, how are you, mate? Yeah, it wasn't coming through to the speaker. So on further inspection, there was a capacitor. I think it was that one there that was causing the issue. So I thought, well, if I've got one capacitor gone, the likelihood is the rest are all shot. Now it's good in a way because it uses all the same value capacitors. There's 400 microfarads in there, and there was 2.8 microfarads, which I haven't got any 0.8s. So I put 2 1 microfarad capacitors in there and 400 microfarads. And don't forget, this set was donated by one of my subscribers, so thanks again for donating that. So the capacitors, they're all these things here which are coated in red film. I'm not sure. Looks like they're CCLs. 9 volt 100 microfarads, and the other ones are, I think they're little Philips 25 volt 0.8 microfarads. So let's get some power on it and see if I manage to get it going. There is other issues with it. It does need quite a bit of work. So let's connect my leads up. Let's go around this way a bit. Turn it around there so I can get it in shot better. Hopefully that's in shot. Just double check we're okay. Just about. Yeah, you get the gist anyway. So all I've done to it, I've lifted the shield legs and I've replaced the electrolytic capacitors in it. I've got a few things still to do to it. I've got to put switch cleaner in it. This volume on-off pot, the on-off switch doesn't click. So I'm going to need to take that apart and see if I can sort that out. And I need to get these AF117s out and zap them properly. So this is really, lifting the shield wire is just a quick fix really. A lot of people snip them off, but I personally wouldn't recommend snipping them off, because if you cut them off, you can't reuse them. And these, if you zap them, so you've basically got to connect them up to a power supply. There's loads of my videos that show me zapping these, so if you want to know how to zap them, just have a look back through some of my earlier videos and you'll see it on there. You basically connect them up to power supply, you join the 3 junctions and you short it to the can or the shield wire, and that blows the little tin whiskers that grow inside these things away. And I've got radios I've done that to that are going 2 years down the line, so it does work, and it's not a permanent fix, I don't suppose, but you know, what's the harm in taking them out again in 10 years time and zapping them again. Right, so I've got my power supply connected. It's a 9-volt set. Let's get this terminal connected a little bit better. It's a bit dirty. Right, so let's pop it on. Yeah, that's right, Mike. I got my power supply will do 64 volts gained together. Okay. So at the moment, it's decided that today it doesn't want to work. Okay. This volume pot's rubbish. There we go.
For everything that he made. So thank you, Tony. I'm definitely going next year to pay all the guys a visit for sure. And that's lovely to see that Wendy's winning competitions as well.
There we go. It's got a bit of a dodgy volume pot there.
This one's come for
So there you go. That was my challenge to get this one working for this live feed, and I have done it. I've not gone mental and restored it all, but it does show that with just a little bit of work, you can get these old radios back up and running. Again, I totally got the year wrong on this. I thought this was like a 70s or 80s radio, but it's actually from the 60s, which surprised me. But you know, as soon as you see those AF117s, you know it's a fairly early radio. So the actual rest of the radio, you've seen the case there, the outer case. I've got a couple bits to do to this. The PAM badge is totally gone there. Can't really see that anymore, so I'm going to need to paint that in. And I mean, I will have a go at restoring this radio, because you know it was kindly given to me by Farad. And I mean, there's a break in the plastic there, and the little tab that secures it in is snapped off in the back, which is a bit of a shame, but it's not the end of the world. I can glue that back. This felt back into the grill has shrunk. You can see none of the holes really line up. Look, that has shrunk, so I'm going to need to wet that, I think, stretch it back into shape, and then dry it while it's stretched to get that done. There's a little bit of damage under there, which I can't really do a lot about. It looks like it's a bit burnt. I can try a little bit of heat on it, see if I can bend it back into some sort of shape. That's the front. Now the grill, I've took the grill off, and I have had a go at flattening this. Sean, I don't know if he's with us today. He's not very well at the moment. Sean, one of my subscribers, sent me this, which is really kind of him. It's a wooden block, and basically it's for ironing grills. So what you do is you stick your grill on there, you get your iron, and you iron it, and that will flatten it out. It's a little bit difficult with this one because you need to iron this side really, and the only way I can do that is going to be putting it like this and doing it. So I will have a go at that. But what I have tried, again, hopefully you're in shot. No, not quite. Let's move this over a bit. So what I have been doing is using this tool, which is like just a fabric roller, just rolling along with that, and I've got it fairly flat. So my idea with this, what I'm going to do, because it does look pretty bad with that corner of the grill missing, it basically sits like that. So I thought what I would do is I'm going to cut this piece here level all the way down, probably nip it off about there. I'm going to slip a bit of aluminium in underneath, so this will sit on top of the aluminium, and it should look okay. I can put some glue on it. I had toyed with replacing this whole section with aluminium, just having the speaker grill and then an aluminium piece, but I don't know really how far do you go with it. That's the thing, isn't it? So I think just a piece of aluminium in underneath there, just a bit of aluminium sheet, should fill that in and make it look presentable. And Wenlock, as I say, did manage to find the model number for me, and it is a 9-volt radio, so we got that bit right. It takes a PP7. Now, I mean, looking at the back there, that looks to me like it's dished for a reason, but I assume it's just dished because that would sit in there like that. It looks like it. So it might have originally been designed for a different battery, but they went with a PP7 in the end, which fits in there quite nice. So that's the story on that one. I did manage to get it going. So all it took was removing the shield wires and putting some new caps in it, and that one's done. Okay, and thanks again to Sean for the little ironing block. He's done a nice job. I think he's put beeswax on that as well, so as it takes a bit of heat. So thanks, Sean, if you're watching. He's not very well at the moment, Sean, poor chap. Okay, I've got some books and that I can go through again in a minute. So if anyone's interested in the books, let me know. What else have I been up to? Okay, well, Farad, that sent me the PAM, also sent me this little radio. So let me just make sure I'm in the shot. Yes, we are. Now, this is an Emperor radio, and again, I saw it. I saw the plastic case, and I thought, oh, that's like something from the 90s. Just a cheap sort of Chinese radio, but again, I was wrong. This is again back from the 60s. Now, currently, I've been working on it, and it's not very well at all. Farad's taken it apart, and I've got no instructions for it. So I've done my best to cobble it back together how it should be. I tested the capacitors in it and they were shot, so I've changed those. There's only 3 in it. 2 actually. And this strange little capacitor down here, which I thought might be a tantalum, but I don't think it is. It seems to be polarized. I thought it was a resistor at first, but it's marked R15. It's AE, and it's got a plus sign. But it does check out okay. I've taken all of the transistors out and tested them. The reason I've done that is because I've got a high current draw on it, and there's no output from it at all. So I'm thinking now I've checked the diode. The only things left to check really now are the resistors, these output transformers, and the little IF transformers and the oscillator transformer. But there is this green wire sticking up in the middle here, which looks like it's been cut off from somewhere. The tuning cap itself has been squashed. It looks like it's had a hell of a whack, that. So it's going to need a new tuning cap. I don't think that's shorted, but I will need to check that. But that green enameled wire just goes through the back and joins onto the circuit board on the back. I really can't work out where that goes. Yeah, I really just can't work out where that goes. So I will get back to that one at some stage and just see if I can get it up and running, but at the moment it's a no-show, that one. Further work required. That's a little speaker for it there. So it's amazing what was possible in the 60s. It's a Japanese radio made in Hong Kong. Look. It says it's a high-quality micro radio, solid state 9. Magnetic earphone, 1.5 volt battery. And anybody that wants to know the model, it's an M712. So if anyone has got one of these that's together and can have a look at the wiring on it, for me that'd be great. If anyone's got any pictures of the inside, there is some stuff on the Radio Museum, but it's not for that model. It's a slightly different one. Yeah, I think they were a little bit of a novelty, Mike. The other thing that I've noticed recently, and I was thinking about possibly picking one up, was a little Sinclair radio from, I think that was back in the late 60s, early 70s. That's a microscopic radio. So that was just something that I'll pick up and put down. I mean, Farad, I don't think he's in any hurry to have that one back. Right, what else have we got then? I think what we'll do next is we'll have a look at some of the what are you saying? Maybe the same as you saw, Paul. Anyway, Paul has very kindly sent me what I called he sent me a load of his junk. It's not junk. It's not junk. It's actually got some really good stuff he sent me. I've just put it in this box for the time being. I'm going to have to be wary of my camera angle here because and I'm not advertising for RS, but let's just zoom out a little bit. Zoom out a little bit there. Paul has sent me all this lot. Absolutely loads and loads of components, all new old stock. And I've had a look at it, but I haven't gone right through it at the moment because I just literally haven't had time. So I thought we'd get a few bits out and have a look, if anyone's interested. All right, John, you've got to go off, but catch up again later. All right, mate. Thanks for joining us, John. So let's go through some of these bits. I mean, we've got some 1% resistors as well. These are really useful 1% resistors. 270 ohms by the looks of it. There's a pack there still in the original packet. I've got some high wattage resistors. I'm not sure what these are rated at. It says WH25. So they're 1K 5% resistors. They're probably something like 25 watts, I would think. They're quite meaty. Yeah, 25 watts, look. Aluminium clad 1Ks. So again, I've not got any of those, so they'll come in useful as something, I'm sure. These, I thought these were electrolytics, but I don't think they are. I don't know if anyone can see this. John, John's print shop. Hi John, how are you, mate? Nice to have you on board. Finally got in on a live feed, look. Anyway, these are these little capacitors, and they're marked 15N. Now I thought they were like, you know, 10, 20 microfarad electrolytics, but they're not. They're 15 nanofarads, which I think is it 0.15 microfarads? I'm not sure. But again, they should come in handy for something, I'm sure. What else have we got? I've got some 4 megahertz crystals, surface mount. Some potentiometers. Now these are, I don't know where these would have come from, possibly a TV or something. These are 470 ohm. You've got the 3 master bright maker. Oh yeah, John. Yeah, so we've got our 3 terminals there, and it's operated. You must have like a little key that goes in the end of it, like a little, I don't know if it is like the old TV was, because you used to get a little knob, didn't you? You pushed in and you could tune the vertical and horizontal on that. So I think that's what they're from. Again, if anybody needs any of this stuff, let me know. If it's something you need for a project, then I'm sure we can share. Some more of those 1% 270 ohm resistors. I mean, I would think they're probably 1/4 watt, but they might be 1/2 watt. I don't know. Yeah, if anybody wanted to know, John from John's print shop there, he did have a go at making some brights for the R200 R300 series of Roberts radios. So I don't know if you're still doing that, John, but I'm sure it'd be appreciated if you are doing them still. So what we've got in here, we've just got various bits and pieces. We've got a female to female TV plug. We've got a relay. That's a bit of a nice relay. Yeah, they look like MOD stuff. Paul, a lot of this does. That relay looks like it's been used before, but quite nice. It's got loads of poles on that, but yeah. Switches galore there. I'm not sure what that come out of, but various other bits in there. Some telephone connectors, by the looks of it. RJ45s, is it? They call those. Sleeve in. USB plug. There's also an IC in there. It's going to take me forever to sort this out, Paul. You know that, don't you? I'm going to be here for bloody a week sorting this out, I think. Another 2.2 ohm 5 watt resistor, I think that one will be. All right, okay, John. So John can still do the little discs. I did show some last week, John, actually, because I buy them from that seller on eBay that does them. And well, this was one that I got from him a while back. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about the R200, R300 brights. Yeah, just for the junk, Paul. You've got to have a bit of junk. Hi, John Marty, how are you? Where do I source my sensible sized resistors for replacements in Hacker and Roberts sets? I get them from RS mainly, John. They come in packs, and I'm not sure because I get them from RS and Farnell. I think Farnell do them in packs of 5 and RS do them in packs of 20, I think. I did get some more in the week because I'd run out. I did a couple amps recently and they're quite resistor hungry, those old amps. Okay, so we've got some more of these resistors. Oh yeah, more 270 ohm 1% resistors. NTC, so I assume. Yeah, John, I use RS. I tend to buy Nichicon radials and Vishay axials. In fact, you can probably, let's grab me down. Again, I did all of Tony's radios are all done now. Used a lot of capacitors, so I had to order more in this week. But these are the caps I use mainly in all my stuff. And I don't know, for some reason, some people are secretive about what caps they use. You know, spread the word. If you've got good stuff, then let people know about it. So I use these Nichicon, and they're PW. So it's Nichicon PW, and they're rated at 105 degrees. And you can see I've got nearly all Nichicons there. I've got some Panasonics in here as well, and some of these I picked up as on offer. These are Sanwa. Picked them up from Rapid, I think they were. I've got some SMD caps here as well that I use from time to time. So yeah, that would be what but that's what I use. And as I say, for the axials, I tend to use the Vishay ones. Yeah, size can vary, John, although it depends what the knob's from, because I think some of the Hacker ones are slightly different than the Roberts ones, John. Anyway, looks like these are thermistors. So that should mean that, let's test these. So we put it on resistance. So thermistors alter in resistance according to temperature. So they're used to protect circuits quite a lot, especially amplifier circuits. You'll notice some of the Roberts sets and some of the Hackers got thermistors in the amplifier stage. All my leads are all tangled up here now, which is fine because, you know, none of this is rehearsed. So let's have a look at this thermistor then. It says NTC 10. Let's see if I can get this measured without sticking my big head in the shot. Okay, so that's 10 ohms, and if I put my finger on it, it's actually dropping. So as it's heated, the resistance is lowering. You can see it going down there now. I've got 9.4 volts. I'm sure if I get my fingers right on it, I can get it even more than that. Yeah. So it's down to 8. It's dropping, still dropping. So basically it's a temperature sensitive resistor. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Mike. Vishays, they look the business. We're talking about these things really. These blue ones are all Vishay. Nichicon do make some. Nichicon makes some axials, and they are a little bit cheaper than the Vishays, but they don't make many, and you've got to shop around to get them really, because there's not many people stock them. Yeah, all of these are, when you go up to this sort of size, 1,000 microfarads, you know, they start getting like £4 or £5 a resistor, a capacitor. What's that there? That's a 470. So yeah, they can be really expensive, and Sprague make these weird size ones as well, which are 250 microfarads, and I got those in to do Evolve radio with. Sprague atoms, very expensive again, but what do you do? If you've got to have them, you've got to have them, haven't you? If it's a case of a radio not working. What are you saying, fakes, John? What are you, fake capacitors or fake knobs? John does great knobs. Oh, caps, right. Yeah, I haven't had any fake stuff, but then I do tend to get it, John. I don't buy capacitors on eBay, for example. I tend to buy them on from reputable sellers. Well, just electrical wholesalers, really. Any idea where I can get a grill for a DAC 10? A DAC 10? That's oh, hang on, no, that's like yeah, I know what you're saying. I don't know really. I mean, you can buy this sort of stuff, but I don't think it'd be big enough for a DAC 10. You can still buy this stuff, John. Oh, DAC 90. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be quite big enough for DAC 90, is it? I've got one here somewhere. But, not to hand. Have I got one? Hang on a minute. Let me get DAC 90 down for you. God, a bit dusty this one. We're deviating again, aren't we? We're deviating. We always deviate, but then what the hell? That's what live is all about, isn't it? If you want to see something, shout and I'll get it. So this is a very dusty DAC 90, and you can see that ain't big enough. So John is after this grill. I mean, this was a little bit bent, to be honest, but that'll bend back out easily. They're normally like a dome shape. As I say, this one is pretty dusty. Where's my duster gone? Over here. Again, I've never fired this radio up, but I have got one downstairs that Sean did for me, which I use in the kitchen. Lovely radio. These are really, really popular. They made thousands and thousands of things. Yeah, good old Volve radio, that. So yeah, if anyone's got a spare grill, I'm assuming that's the bit you want, John, in the middle, then let me know. Let's chuck that one back out the way. Right. So where was I? We've got these, which again look like very stiff. Again, it's another potentiometer. 47, oh, 4K7, 4.7K. So again, it looks like a little adjuster that you would put a screwdriver in just to trim a circuit with. I need some metal grill for some Roberts sets. What's Paul saying? Oh, right, okay. £0.5 metre square for 21 quid. There you go, John. Yeah. So John Marty, get yourself down to B&Q by the looks of it. You can get a £0.5 metre square for 21 quid. I wonder if that would do for my grill for my pan there as well, Paul. You never know. Yeah, thanks, Mike. It is a nice set that. I bought it off eBay, and unfortunately the case has got a couple cracks in it, which is why I picked it up quite cheap. But cracks can be stabilised in Bakelite. My beer's run out as well, which is a bit bad news. We need to go and get some more beer. Anyway, moving on. These are really useful. So they're 5% capacitors and they're 0.47 microfarad WEMAs. I don't think that's how you pronounce it. I've heard Peter on his channel, TRX Bench, pronounces it, is it VMA or something like that. 250 volts, so they'll come in really useful for valve radios. 0.47. And they're good quality, those WEMAs as well, so thanks for those, Paul. Your decal's coming up, John. I'm going to ask you some questions on that in a minute, mate, so stay put. I've got it just over here in my pile of literature to go through in a minute. Right. Yeah, I'll have to get into B&Q, Paul. That sounds interesting. I have seen him before in there, but I didn't think of that. So we've got some more capacitors. 4.7 microfarad. That's quite high for these. It's got 1063. I'm not sure whether that means 10 volts AC, 63 volts DC. Not sure, but 4.7 non-polarized poly capacitor. I assume it's poly inside. So I've got to sort of skip through some more of this now. I mean, it's Paul has sent me loads of stuff here. I mean, look at that lot. That's all carbon, well, mainly carbon resistors. You know, these are the things I use, a lot of these. We've got a couple, some higher wattage ones. 70 watts. There's a whole bag of resistors. I mean, that'll take me a good couple hours to sort through that lot. Some more large, looks like 50 watt, 16K resistors. What else we got here? Some more capacitors, 1.5K, 250 volts. Don't know what that is. 1.5K, 1.5 thousand. It's probably 15 picofarads or something like that. I'm not sure. We've got a diode. Oh no, it's a resistor. In a TO, I think it's TO20, isn't it? Or TO220 can. And we've got some transceivers, so I assume these are Maxim. I don't know whether that's for a CB radio or like a walkie-talkie. So that might be some PLO chips there. I'm not sure, as I say, that's Max 232 CPE, whatever they are. You never know, one day I might need those. 3.3K resistors, half a watt. Well, hi Generali, you're off now. So we'll catch it up later, mate. Nice to have you on board again. Thanks for joining me. Some Zener diodes, 3V6, so 3.6 volt Zeners, half a watt. Again, always useful when you're building stuff. Some regulators by the looks of it. These will be, you have a great day as well, generally. These are L7 805 It's a 5-volt regulator there. I've used a couple of those recently actually. I repaired an AOR 3000 that came in not working earlier this year, and that was a 5-volt regulator gone in that one, so I had to use an upright and bend the legs. Well, these are pre-bent, so that would have saved me a bit of hassle. You off as well, John, are you? John Penny? It's a tiny room, John. It's a tiny room, and if there are a few people that have visited me, and I'm sure they'll vouch for that. I'm absolutely crammed in here. It just happened that I had a DAC 90A over there, so I'm nearly at the bottom of this bag. I've got these, and whether Paul can shed any light on these, we've got some unmarked transistors here. I did get one of these out, but I've sealed it back up now, haven't I? Oh, there we go. I can find no markings on these whatsoever, but I've got a huge, great bag full of them from Paul. So I'm going to get my component tester. Let's connect them up and see what it says. Ha! I beat you to it there, John. So they are, and oh, hang on, it says PNP Darlington bijunction transistor. Well, I don't think that's Darlington. I think that's just dirty leads. Let's just try that again. Just run the leads up and down a few times. That usually clears any grime off. Let's try that again. That's coming up with the same Darlington transistor. Well, it wasn't that one. I tested them previously, so let's just try another one. Try another one. Okay, well, it looks like they're Darlington transistors then. So it's coming up as PNP Darlington bijunction transistor. HFE's 142, so they've got good gain on them. Absolutely no leakage whatsoever. Yeah, so I'm not familiar with Darlington transistors. Never used a Darlington transistor before. But you never know. One day, anybody needs any of them for a project, let me know. There's a shed load of them. Just seal them back up again. We've got these here, and I assume these are cartridge fuses. I think that's what they are. I don't know if anyone can show Paul whether you can tell me. It's got a white dot on it. There's no values marked on them. But it looks like a fuse. It could be a resistor. I don't know. Let's just check the resistance of it. Cloth out of the way. It's dead short, then it's going to be a fuse, isn't it? This is basically 46 ohms. This is not short. I know, 478 ohms. Wow. It's not a fuse then, I would have thought. Surely a fuse would be a dead short, wouldn't it? Paul, fuses? I don't know. 474, it could be a resistor, I suppose, but maybe a fusible resistor, perhaps. I don't know. We've got some of these. These are useful. You'll see these in the Hacker RP18 amplifier. These are, can't read that, 220 nanofarad at 250 volts. Yeah, they use these, the Philips HQ, so it's high quality. They use those in the Hacker, and I'm not sure if that's the right value, but certainly that's the right type of capacitor. Hi Rob, how are you, mate? Yeah, Paul has sent me a load of stuff here. It's we've got some more of these cartridge thingies as well. Now these have got like a, in fact these have got 2 dots on them. They've got like a, it's like orange and brown. I reckon these are resistors, you know. I think that's resistors. Anybody can shed any light on that? I don't know if I can get any closer with that. Let's see what that one measures. Yeah, see that's coming up. It's a bit dirty, but 346 ohms. So yeah, they've got to be resistors. I don't know if they're fusible resistors, but they are showing resistance. We've got some similar resistors there. Not sure on those. Some more capacitors. More capacitors, 4.7 microfarads. All those yellow ones. This is fairly interesting. Again, I haven't done any research on these, so apologies for being a bit vague. It's got IPL 3314-8, and it's then marked A1936. And these look, they look very interesting. I daren't touch them because I've not got my ESD strap on, but you can actually see into the IC there. So again, anybody got any ideas what they are? Paul, do you know? They've got gold pins, so assume they're RF product, but it says product of Integrated Photo Matrix Limited, so it might be some sort of photo. Paul don't know either. It's got some more of those 15 nanofarad capacitors. We've got these. You can't quite see them, John. What the? See if I can get them a bit closer to the camera a minute for you. There we go. If I can get them a bit closer still. Can you see that? There we go. So they've got like a glass top to them. They're gold plated by the looks of it. Interesting looking component. I should have to look them up, see what they do. So, if anybody wants the part number off of it, that's what's on the top of the box. So if anybody's got a couple of minutes to quickly look that up for me on Google, that'd be great. We're getting a bit closer. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, interesting stuff. Also, we've got this. Let's get my multimeter out of the way. And these, I'm sure that these could be used for some sort of project. There's a little bit of sheet with them. These are made by Greenwell, who do a lot of like electrical hobbyist stuff. And it's an audible warning device. So again, if you can see that or not, it's audible warning device. GW1. I have no use for them at the moment, but you never know. And if anybody wants one of these, let me know. Let's just get one out to have a look. So yeah, we've got a little transistor, capacitor, some resistors, and an IC, and a little sounder unit. Nifty little thing. We've got some output pins there. I'll have to see if I can rig that up and get it to make a noise at some stage. Greenwell, they do a lot of like clearance stuff, so you can pick up stuff like this for really next to nothing, and they make some interesting little bits for projects and that, so if anyone's into that, it's great. And this was the other thing that I was really interested in. Again, we've got, I'll have to hold this up to the camera because they're pretty small. See if we can get the focus. The light's not very good over this way, so apologies. But it's a little bit like an OC71. It's got a white dot on it, and again, absolutely no marking. So I'd assume that these are military. Again, Paul will probably confirm that. And if you look at an OC71, I've got one. Yeah, there's an OC71 look. I might have pulled from a set. See, they're very similar, exactly the same case on them. But this has got no marking. So I'm sure I'll be able to use those in a radio. In fact, I'm definite I will be able to. Let's hook it up to the tester. Not advertising none of this stuff, but I mean, these peak testers are brilliant stuff. So I jump up and if you can see that or not. So they are PMPs again, HFE 79, which is very similar, I think, to so it's PNP HFE 79. Leakage is about 0.2, which is about right for germanium. So I think they'll be pretty useful. So thanks for those, Paul. And really, the last couple packets on EEV block, it shows mystery chip. Oh, you got some more of those, Paul, have you? It could be OC45s, Mike. Yeah, it could well be, but they're not marked. So usually if you've got stuff like that's not marked, it's very often it's military. They're glass encapsulated. A lot of the black paint's coming off of them, so they're a bit light sensitive. So the remaining two bags from Paul are just large bags of mixed components. There's transformer cans, there's these old brown caps. There is some very useful bits in some of these. I've noticed when I was looking through yesterday, there's obviously some ICs, but I did notice some of these little transistors. Now, these are fitted in a lot of the Japanese radios. I just can't see that. It's too small to look at. So I'll get my eyeglass out a minute. Still can't see it. It's a 1129. Looks like a C1129. So I'm not sure what that is. Stick on the component tester again. There's quite a few of those dotted about in there. There's a few other transistors. And transistors are one of the hardest things to get hold of these days, old ones. So always appreciate any transistors. So what we're reading on that. That's an NPN. No leakage whatsoever. So that is the same as that little I don't know if it's the same transistor, but it's certainly the same type as is in that little radio there, that little Emperor. If you look at the oscillator transistor in that one, let's get you up to the camera. I need to get a light over this way, don't I, really? Let's try that. There's that. Here we go. So if you look at that little tiny transistor in there, that's pretty much the same. It's the same package anyway. And these are fairly hard to get hold of. So thanks again for those, Paul. So I'm not going to pull all these bags out. I mean, there's ICs in there, resistors, capacitors, switches, all sorts of stuff. It's going to take me an absolute age, Paul, to go through that. So thank you very much. Certainly it's given me somewhere else to look when I'm looking for that elusive component that I know I've got, but I don't know where it is. This will be that. Right, so let me get this out of the way. So thanks again, Paul, for that. Brilliant stuff, mate. Let's pop all that off the bench out the way. Yeah, certainly it's a bit of a mystery component, that, John. Let's tidy myself up. What else have we got? What haven't we got? Ah, right, okay. Bear with me. I'm still here. I haven't gone. Right, this is the next thing I wanted to have a look at. Let's go in a little bit closer if I can. That'll do. Paul also sent me this to have a look at, something he'd been given quite some time ago but never got round to having a look at it. It is a signal tracer and injector. Now again, I've not done anything with this. I've not looked at it or anything. All I've done is downloaded some instructions for it. So looking at it, on the left, we've got an attenuator. So if your signal's too strong, you can attenuate it, which is quite useful. On this side, we've got dual amp meter external speaker. External speaker self-explanatory. Meter, I assume, works on this meter. Amp and dual, I'm not sure. We've got injection and input on these switches. But again, I'm not sure if that's correct or not. I don't know. But anyway, it's a Sansei SE360. Good old radio museum. They've got operating instructions for it, look. So what do we know about it then? It's optimum adjustment checkup of equipment in service shops and factories, also for amateurs. This is a signal tracer and injector. Takes a 9-volt battery. Outputs a 1K waveform by the looks of it. So it's got 5-volt maximum output level, but 0 to 5-volt continuously variable. So I assume that's on these switches here on the bottom. So we've got 2 rotary pots with switches on, one for tracer, one for injector. We've got AF RF switch. AF's obviously audio, RF is radio frequency. I think that could be a useful bit of test kit, that. So basically insert a test probe, plug into the input terminal. Let's have a look at what's on the end then, because this is where it goes a bit haywire, I think. So at the top here, it should be, according to that, external speaker. But we've got a cigarette lighter socket. Okay. It could be 2SC 2219, John. Signal tracer. Yes, this is a signal tracer. So it looks to me from this that someone's plugged it into a cigarette lighter socket. Well, being it's a 9-volt machine, obviously it's had 12 volts put across it. And that is in what should be an external speaker jack. So that sort of like rings alarm bells. And I mean, looking at the picture of the unit, it's not a very good picture, to be honest, but it looks like they're jack plugs. So whether there was a plug socket in there originally and these have just been put in, not to say that it won't work, but you know, vehicle audio installations, it could be, John. It could be CB radio. It's got that sort of CB radio type look to it, but it's quite a heavy, quite a hefty case on it. The case is cracked there. It's quite a hefty. It looks like Bakelite, so I don't know what age it is. Is there anything on here that dates it at all? Yeah, so it's tracing of audio frequency, radio frequency, and measurement of gain. It says it could be used as a preamplifier of a vacuum tube voltmeter or an oscilloscope. Microphone and pickup. So yeah, I mean, basically it could be used. It could be a very useful bit of kit. So let's get the front off of it, shall we? You know, I think I've learnt my lesson really doing stuff live, but you know, got to be done. You've got to have a look inside it, haven't we? Can't leave it like that. Again, if you go in on the Radio Museum site and you check and you search for SANSEI, SANSEI, model SE-360, you'll bring up the document and some pictures of the internals. Okay, that looks pretty poorly inside there. Looks like something's been spilt in that at some stage. Right, what have we got then? Okay, well it looks to me that switch there is connected to this cable here, so it looks like this can be switched as an input or output. There's additional wiring been added in. this is obviously a new wire coming down here and tagging onto that capacitor. There's our 9-volt battery clip. I'm just trying to see what they've done to get the power different. Okay, well they've got the, I'm not sure what they've done here. We've got this little switch here, which is connected to this power supply lead. Comes out, joins onto there. That's onto a voltage regulator by the looks of it. LM2930A, which has got a cobbled up diode on it. Yeah, this has been well and truly got at, hasn't it? So I'm going to have to probably, well, I'm certainly going to have to go onto the Radio Museum and download their pictures of the layout to see what's been added. I can see obviously that diode's been added. This wire's been added. I think both of these little switches have been added. They're not original, I don't think, although they look the part. I don't think they're original switches. I think there would have been sockets for plug-in probes in originally, looking at the picture. That would have been an external speaker jack, but we've now got this 12-volt cable going onto it. So I wonder whether that regulator has been added. I think that regulator has been added, you know. So someone's put that in to drop the voltage down from the car supply. That's what they've done there. Again, I'm not sure what an LM2930 is. I'm not sure what voltage that drops it down to. I've had it open. I sure know you, mate. We're just looking at this signal tracer injector that Paul has sent me. Sure. Interesting bit of kit. I'd like to get it working, John, to be fair. You know, it's pretty much all there. We've just got these additions that have been put in. Ideally, I need a circuit and some pictures of one that's actually working. Seems to have a lot of excess wire here as well. So yeah, someone's modified it for a particular function for themselves, I think, but the modifications are done in around these switches and with this voltage regulator here. Could be, John. You never know. It could be a follow-up. So I need to do a little bit more investigation. It's a shame I haven't got a circuit for it. I was hoping that I had a circuit diagram in that Radio Museum site, but unfortunately not. So if anyone's got any info on these or knows anything about it, or even better still, has actually got one, then let me know and we can probably get this one up and running. Wrong way around now. Right. Just pop those screws back in so I don't lose them because they're little tiny screws. So it's not been heavily modified, but it's been modified beyond the point of easily restoring to original because someone's taken the wires out where the probes would have gone and the sockets. So I assume they're just normal like banana sockets. I don't know. I'm going to have to study the pictures on the Radio Museum a bit more carefully, I think. I literally just downloaded that this morning before I came live, so I haven't had a chance to do any more research on it. But I will. Right, so that one can go to one side in the project box. Can go for a rainy day. Right, what else have we got then? Loads more. I need to get some more beer opened up because the voice is going. So bear with me. So there's a problem with the live stream at this time of day. It's lunchtime as well. So it's liquid lunch today. That's a bit of hobgoblin, by the way, if anyone's interested. Good stuff. Right, how are we doing on chat? Any more for any more? Cheers, mate. How you feeling, Sean, anyway? I could do a video on beer. I reckon I could, John. But then I think you'll find a lot of us people that work on radios, if you watch Simon Spire's channel, he's usually got a glass of something on the go or a bottle of something. So I'm sure it's all to do with the radio stuff, really. Okay, well, I mentioned Tony. Tony's not going to be with us today because he's over in Italy at the moment. It's a chap that collects the little portable radios, the pocket radios. He's also got some other radios, and my next video series coming out. In fact, it's only going to be a couple. I've did a recap on a Sony ICF 77 for him, and that's got the SMD capacitors in it. So that was a bit of a first for me. I have messed with SMD stuff before, but nothing on that sort of scale. So I recapped the whole of an ICF 77 Sony, which was a bit of a nightmare, but that'll all come out in the video, I'm sure. So this is another one of these radios that he sent me in. He must be knocking on having as many as me. And this was one of the ones that I was going to get to last week that I never did. And this is a very nice looking radio, and I'm not sure if we've got any American viewers on at the moment, but this is a Zenith. It's a little bit poorly. I'm just making sure that I'm in frame here, so I need to be a little bit further up. It's a Zenith Royal 780 Navigator. It's an unusual looking radio. I mean, this strap is like something you would find on a horse. It's massive, really thick leather. That ain't going anywhere. But unfortunately, on the back, you can see the top hinge piece, by being hinged over the years, has broken off. And I mean, this just clips on. So that piece is unfortunately broken away from here. But if you look, that is all one piece. So I know it would probably cost, and the leather's really thick. It's two sections there. It's also leather with a card backing, actually. But I reckon if you went to a saddler, they could make that bit for you. And I think if it was my radio and I was going to restore it 100% and money was no object, I think I probably would actually get that done, because I'm sure this will all come apart and leave just the case. They could take the stitching off, remake this piece, and then you'd be back with a good working functional radio. Well, working case anyway. I don't know about the function of the radio yet. I've not even looked at this one. Alternatively, I suppose a patch could be glued on here and slid in underneath to make it move, but it would need to be something pretty flexible. I think the only way forward is to do that properly and get a saddler to look at it. So I'll have a chat with Tony when he comes back in a couple of weeks and see if he wants me to investigate that, because I am looking at someone that can repair the old handles on the Roberts and that. So maybe I can kill two birds with one stone on that. I'd say I've never seen one of these radios before. You missed the palm, Sean. You'll have to look back, mate. I got it going. Glad to hear you're on the mend, Sean. Just quickly checking the chat. If it's in the to-do pile for more than 12 months, it can go. Well, I think mine is more than 10 years, Paul. If it's more than 10 years, then it can go. Right. So, as I say, I've managed to download, again, this is from the Radio Museum. It says it's a supplementary service manual. I mean, I think it's dated 1959, so it's quite an old radio. I've got a Sam's photo factor on it as well. Yeah, so that's dated December 1960. So it's definitely late 50s, early 60s. This is a bit all over the place here because it's literally just come off the printer. I'm just going to have a look to see what the bands were on it. But it doesn't say. Yeah, I've no idea how this works or anything, so I thought let's have a look at it live. It's a sensible thing to do, isn't it? What have we got on the back here? This is just like a little layout diagram on the back. I don't even know what battery it takes. This is one of these weird batteries here, isn't it? That's a bit nifty. I think Tony was after a full restoration on this. It could be one of them never-ending restorations. I've got a couple of those at the moment. So it looks like our battery leads have broken off. I assume they connected up to the top here. So we've got 3, 6, 9 volts. Got to be in there. But I wonder which one is positive and which one is negative. Right, let's have a quick look at the circuits on here. I wonder if there's actually more to this. Yeah, here we go. No, that's not it. That's another radio altogether. Okay, so we've got a circuit diagram. Let's see if we can see the power supply. Right. bear with me while I'm just looking at this. 8.5 volts it says. Okay, that's a bit strange. It's got a minus 9 volt source and a minus 8.5 volt source. 9 volts in total. Sounds like dogs are kicking off out the back. Okay, so it overlaps. Overlaps like that. So that has got to be plus and minus 9 volts. So I wonder which one is the negative. Let's have a look. Then we'll put some power on it, I think. Got to be done, isn't it? How are we doing on the chat? It's a Zenith 780 port. Yeah, I think my missus has already been on to Hoarders, John. Come clear me out. Let's just get a bit of meat on these wires. See if I can find out. I'm going to assume that the chassis is earthed. The chassis is negative, so I'm going to go with a black wire as being negative. Stick that on continuity test. So we'll go first of all black. No, don't think so. It was 164 ohms onto the chassis from that, so that's got a little bit too much resistance to be negative. Let's try this one. There you go. So there we are, the white valve. I would the white valve, white wire looks to be the negative, and the black is a positive. I would have said it's the other way around, but what I'll do is connect it up to my power supply. Put the current limit just on the edge. So yeah, go with black as a positive. Check my power supply. No. It's drawn 170 milliamps that way around. I suppose it could be a positive chassis. Let's try that. Actually, no, that's the way I had it. Well, first of all, it. No, let's try it the other way around then. There we go. So it looks like the black is negative and the red is positive, but the chassis is actually positive on this radio. So there's no harm done to the radio connecting it backwards because my power supply is current limited, so it just kicks out as soon as you try and reverse it. What are you saying there, Sean? I'd like to send for live stream. Yeah, by all means, Sean, you can send them on. Have you had a look at the Zenith then, Sean? Have you? Because yeah, they are pretty fiddly, but they are lovely made radios. As long as it's not got FM on, all is good, because they're pegged to the line. Well, we seem to be stable, so let's have a look around the front and see if we can get any sound out of this thing that's making little popping noises. But it's absolutely dead, I think. Oh, hang on, we've got long wave. It's not drawing hardly any current, and it's really quiet. It's very old school construction. All of the transistors are in little sockets. I can't see any capacitors in it at all, so they've all got to be in behind this plate. But it's a good idea, isn't it? If you've got a transistor gone, you just pull it out and pop another one back in the same hole. I don't know what this does on top. Just runs round and round and round. This is a headphone socket or something in there as well. So it's working on long wave, but very quiet. I mean, there's CD marked on the scale as well. I'm assuming that's civil defence, isn't it? So medium wave is literally not working at all. No, it's dead. Well, that could be one of these transistors. Let's give it a little bit of a wiggle. No. So that is going to be a bit of a restoration project, that is. Yeah, I get there, John, eventually. The amplifier's sort of working. But the capacitors are absolutely shot. It's really, really quiet. So the band whistling is going to start. Like, Dan, how are you, mate? It's dogs are immune to it now. So I'm sure they hear it virtually every day, especially when I've got a signal generator on. That must do their heads in. So that's going to have to come out the chassis. So I might have a look at this one in the week if I get a chance and get it out of the chassis, and we can have another look at it possibly next weekend. Next weekend I'm away at a wedding, so it's the partner's son's wedding next weekend. So we're not going to be about. We won't be back until Sunday. So if I do go on next week, it's going to be a bit later. Okay. Yeah. Andrew sent me a link in the week to a program on BBC called The Repair Shop, which I didn't even know existed. But I've been watching it ever since. It's really, even though it's nothing to do with radio, it's just people fixing stuff, and they're doing leather work and clock making and all sorts of stuff. It's really interesting. If you get a chance to grab that, I would. Okay. Right, what else have I got? We'll look at a bit of literature now, I think. Hi there. Hey, buddy. How are you, mate? Oh, no, RadioNet. RadioNet R. How are you, mate? I thought you were buddy then, but of course it's not, is it? It's a directional tuner for AM. Okay. Yeah, that could be right, because you set it, I suppose, to where you want it. And then you'd have to memorize where you had it set, I suppose. But welcome on board, RadioNet. Do watch your channel from time to time as well. So we're going to look at some literature now first, and then we'll finish off with a couple Roberts radios that Andy wanted to have a quick look at. So that's Andrew Beck. So John mentioned he'd sent me a sticker, and how I got round to it, I think I'm in shot here with it. So he sent me this. John actually has got one of these, I think, is it a dye subliminal printer, John? Some fancy printer that prints these labels. So basically he sent me this car sticker. What I can't work out, John, is I thought this would have gone on the inside of the car screen, but when you peel it, it comes off on this backing paper. So I stick that inside the car, it's going to come out mirror image. So I'd assume that sticks on the outside of the glass. Am I right in that? Because this doesn't stick to the backing here. Oh, it's a vinyl cutter, John, is it? Right. So this goes on the outside of the glass, John, does it? Right, okay. So yeah, probably, I don't know how robust that is though, John, with all the bad weather and everything else. It that might come off. Yeah, I'll have to stick that on, John, see what it's like. So if anyone wants any of these stickers, I'm sure John can make up most things like. So you've done that with a vinyl cutter, John. I mean, that's pretty neat, isn't it? I won't peel it all the way off, but yeah, that's really good, John. Thank you for that. So I'll try sticking that on the car, see what it looks like, or I could stick it on the front door or something, couldn't I, really? But then I don't want people knocking on the door saying, "Oh, you're on YouTube, are you?" It won't come off, John. Yeah, Sean, put it in the front window. So if anyone wants any of these, anything like this made up, I'm assuming, John, you can pretty much do anything, can you, with that? Make up any sort of sticker? Was it got to be lettering? Yeah. Well, there you go, RadioNet. If you have a word with John there, at John's print shop, he's the chap that makes these, and I think you're also doing some cups, John, aren't you? And plates, that sort of thing. I know you were experimenting with a dye subliminal printer. So thanks for that, John. I shall try that in the week. I'll have to clean the car. That's the only trouble. That could take me a couple hours to clean that thing. So last week we looked at some books, and I missed a book. Actually, the reason I missed it was because it was downstairs beside the sofa, and I was actually reading it. So that's why I missed it. And this is what Rob dropped me in. I don't know if Rob's still with us, but Rob dropped me in this book. And hopefully I'm in shot. Let me just double check. Yeah, we are. Bang on. Again, I've got a copy of this book, so I might be able to do a giveaway with it. I did look at the Roberts book last week for a giveaway, but they are still available, believe it or not, because they brought an 80th anniversary edition out. That was this one, History of Roberts Radio's 70th anniversary edition. But there's now an 80th anniversary edition out, which has got a green cover, and it's available on eBay in their outlet store. So if anyone wants one of those, it's only a £5, I think, so it's not expensive. This is a bit more expensive, and these are, I think you can still get hold of these, but it's called The Set Makers, and it's a history of the radio and television industry. Keith Geddes in collaboration with Gordon Busey, or Busey, I think it is. But pretty much it covers the history of radio and television. It's not quite 50-50 television and radio. It's more heavily geared up for television in the later part of the book. But one of the good things that I like about the book is it's a proper reading book. It's not really, it is a reference book, but it is a reading book as well. And it goes back. You've got old magazine covers. And there's all these old adverts. I mean, these are like going back into, this is 1925, that advert, that. So it really, it covers radio. It's mainly Volve radio. As you go further into the book, you start coming across a bit more broadcasters of 1929. Look. All their pipes and cigarettes. Look. See that these days, do you? The text backwards would probably be better for me, John, I think, because I can stick that on the inside of the car then. I don't need to worry about washing the car. So yeah, there's loads and loads of like adverts and that in here. And as you go further into the book, it gets newer and newer. There's pictures of factories. I mean, look, Echo, another Echo winner, 1935. Gramophones. That's a lovely little book. Olympia, Pilot. There's pictures of the old factories. Look, the ultra electric factory from 1930. It is a proper history book. It is a history of radio, really. I mean, Bush, look. I think I was talking to Sean a while back about recreating a Bush sticker for him for his DAC 10, I think, Sean, isn't it? And it gives you the sizes of it and pictures. It says that was for dealers intended to reproduce the Bush logo for themselves. So if they were going to put the Bush logo on their letterheads or whatever, that was how Bush said they had to do it. But yeah, I think that's a lovely book. So thanks again for that, Rob. As I say, I have got one of these, so either this one or the one I've got will be a spare. So then we get, it's pretty much 50-50 television, and there's bits of radio that pop back in, but then it starts talking about television. There's a lot of television stuff in here. I mean, look at these old sets here. Television in the 30s. You wouldn't think they had television in 1930, would you? And there's more stuff on radio in here. It's sort of spread around. Ever Ready Saucepan Radio in 1949. Some Echo. Yeah, so there's still bits of radio stuff throughout here. I've never seen some of these. Bush from 1959. Stereograms. There's loads of stuff in here. So again, if anyone wants a book that's going to take a long time to read, then this is the one for you. Troubadour. Lady Margaret. Look, I've got one of those here somewhere. There's a Robert Zeller RT1 from 1959 with a leopard skin or pony skin. Perdio. Yeah, I say this one is currently sat down. Well, it's not. It's up here now, but it's sat down beside me by the sofa, and I just keep picking it up when I get spare 5 minutes and have another read through different bits and pieces. But I mean, it's 463 pages, so it's quite a hefty book. But really one that you've got to have on your bookcase, really, haven't you? So yeah, thanks again for that, Rob. And I must devise some sort of giveaway thing. I've reached 1,000 subscribers. I'm about 1,210 at last count, I think. So I'm doing really well. What else have I got? Last week I mentioned Radio and the book that Rob gave me, and he gave me the second edition. So I knew I had one somewhere, but I could not find it. So I searched high and low, and I managed to eventually find it very deep in amongst my ring binders up there, which I keep all my service info in. I've actually got the third edition. So this goes further again than the other editions, and I think probably Amazon and eBay have done quite well on these books, because I know there's definitely 2 of you at least have bought this. But stuff like this, it gives you the transistor lineups for the years, 1956 to 1960. It goes right up to 1972. So pretty much you can date your radio by looking at the transistor lineups, which is really useful. And there's an index in here of transistor radios, which is quite comprehensive. I don't know if that's in the other one. There certainly is some differences between this and volume 2. So again, it's about dating your radio by its tuning dial, which this makes good reading, really. So it shows you what the markings were for the different dial plates through the years. It goes from the the earliest ones there, 1919. Again, it's quite a lot of info on that. It goes up to, what's the latest it goes up to? 1978. That was when all those little tiny diamond things that you see stuck on radio dials came from. So the BBC altered all their frequencies. And there's things on very rare radios. The directory of British transistor radios and foreign imports. That's huge. There we are, TR1, world's first transistor radio from 1954, made in the USA. And this was the article I was on about that I'd read, but it's different. It's laid out differently in this one. It's much more info on it, so you really go into detail on this particular article. So I'd love to get one of these old Palm 710s. I've got the predecessor to it, this one, the Pi transistor, which in fact I've actually got one down here. That wasn't planned either. That, I mean, that's a pretty sorry looking radio, but it's 1957. This one, you know, okay, it's broken here, and I've lost a cover there. But I've actually got two of these, so I'm hoping that one day I'll have enough bits to make a whole one. This one's actually got the Pi and the transistor. That very often is missing, but that's a really old radio. You look in the back, it's like it's not going to come apart, is it now? I don't want to break it, you see. Another thing is there's not many radios that still got that little tab on it. Can I get it apart? Wait. No, hang on. You've got to unscrew these, haven't you? I'm digressing again, aren't I? But there you go. So yeah, that's the inside of one of those. And these are covers for the batteries. Oh, somebody's actually stuck the front there in for me, so I've got that. So yeah, very, very old transistor radio. And I mean, the transistors you can see in there, those little red things, I've never seen them in any radio apart from this one before. So it's the same as the transistors they got here, these Pi 756. Yeah, so again, worth looking out for one of these old radios, but you'd be lucky to find one in any decent sort of condition, because they are very, very old. And I've deviated yet again, am I? Oh well. Let's put one safely down out the way. So yeah, that's my copy of Radio 3rd edition. Again, this one is signed. See, the original price was 35 quid, so it wasn't a cheap book. This one's signed by Jonathan Hill as well. Best wishes from Jonathan Hill, March 2005, and this is number 1865. But as I say, they're still available on Amazon and eBay and other places, so well worth picking up. Right, let's have a quick look at the chat again. Yeah, John, it's got a lot of old in it. Yeah, I can do that, John. I can stick my logo on it. Yeah, the Palm. It's actually a Pi. That is the Palm you mean in the book. Sure, not the Pi that I've got, because the Pi, I think they put the Pi name on the Palm radios in the end, because Pi was a bigger brand or something. I don't know. Right, so just a couple more bits of literature. I'll have a look at a couple of radios, and I think we're pretty much nearly there. Then it's 3:15. Look, didn't realise it was that late. Been waffling on again, am I? Anyway, again, I've got no affiliation with any of this, but the next thing I wanted to have a quick look at with you was the British Vintage Wireless Society's bulletin. Now, some of you are probably are probably members of this. If not, then up to you. But I would recommend joining purely for this publication, to be fair, because it is a really good good journal. I mean, it's probably the best magazine in the industry, I would think. I mean, it's amazingly well put together. They spent a lot of time. They've kept the theme going throughout. Look, there's loads of them. There's one there with the hackers. Look, there's one for the pocket radio collectors. The only thing I would say with the British Vintage Wireless Society is they run their membership annually, and I think it starts at the beginning of the year. So if you join now, for example, you'll pay the same membership fee, but you only get like another 3 months of membership, and then that's it. You've had it. But they do, if you join partway through the year, they do send you all the back issues for that year, and these magazines are issued quarterly. So you can see this is the one that's just literally come through. I think it was earlier this week. This is autumn 2018. There's various things. There's members adverts. And has anyone been to the Television and Wireless Museum? British Vintage Wireless and Television Museum in London. I wouldn't mind going up to that and look around at some stage. I bet that'd be a great day out, that would, for people that are interested in wireless, that is. Royal Wootton Bassett, look, so there's a swap meet and auction in December, so I'm thinking I'm probably going to go to that. 9th of December this year. That's up near Swindon. And they do a cracking auction. I've seen the pictures on their website of the auctions they do. But anyway, the actual bulletin itself, I mean, it's really well out. This is just a quick flick through on some of the stuff. It's really well photographed. And they don't, I mean, a lot of it is Volv radio stuff, but they do touch on, there's quite a few articles on transistor things. There's someone here that's made their own cabinet for a radio, which is it's really good reading. And there's some pictures from the NVCF, the National Vintage Communication Fair that I went to this year. Well worth a visit. And, there's some articles on someone's on the trail of the Perdio PR3 there, look. So there's some stuff on little portable radios. Certainly seen these before, the Super 7s. All in all, it's a really well put together journal, and I mean, I can't remember what the price is now, but you can see from these, it's that's one of particular interest was the Hacker VHF Herald. I don't know if there's an article on that in here or not. No, I think that article was in a later magazine. So yeah, again, I've got no affiliation with the British Vintage Wireless Society, but I am a member. I have been for probably about the last 4 years on and off. I think I had a little lapse, and I've joined partway through the year a couple of times. They do send you out the old bulletins for that year. They also send you out a disc with a lot of the trader sheets and that on it, and they send you like a video disc as well. Plus you get a calendar, and again, it's a really well put together calendar. So there's Roberts. I've got one of these preamps quad stuff, look. Yeah, so I just thought I'd quickly show you those for those that don't know that they existed. I mean, the only other thing, I don't know if I'm I'm a member of the RSGB, the Radio Society of Great Britain. Again, they do a monthly magazine which they send out, which, although it's mainly to do with transmitting, there's a lot of stuff on receivers. There's the equipment catalogue there, look. All the manufacturers are in there. Again, it's a bit of a pick it up and put it down type magazine. But there's a lot of adverts, information about the RSGB, and the ARLL are quite heavily featured in there as well. Let's have another quick look at the chat. Just looking at the speaker horn, do I have one? No, I haven't got a speaker, a horn speaker, I assume you mean. Sock in it. I haven't, Rob, I haven't read that. I haven't. I thought I had a copy of it here, and I may have. I don't know, because I know that the British Vintage Wireless Society gave it away one year with their journal, but I might have it here, but I can't find it. I did look. Right, just a couple more radios then, and we'll call it a day. Andy asked to have a look at some of the old Roberts radios. Now, he did say the R200, R300 and the RIC 1. Well, I can't get my hands on those, all of those at the moment. I got a couple here. This is a radio that I've restored. I bought this from a car boot sale a few years ago. I don't know if it's still in the back, but it actually came with a little envelope with all its instructions and a bill of sale and everything with it, which is, I love stuff like that. But this radio is totally original. I don't think I've even done the capacitors or anything in this one. And the original Roberts RT1 didn't have an underline on the Roberts sign. So if you get one and it's got a line underneath it, it's one of the later RT1s or one that's been repaired, because these are really fragile, as Sean will tell you. You know, I could just push that slightly and it would break it instantly, so you've got to be really careful when you store these. It's got a turntable on the bottom. This, as I say, is, I think it's from 1959. It's certainly late 50s, early 60s. This was Robert's first transistor radio, which is why it's called the RT1, Radio Transistor 1, I assume. So let's have a quick look in the back. It's long wave and medium wave only. It's even got the original place it was bought from by the looks of it, Percy Powell. I wonder if they're still there in Tunbridge Wells. It's quite fortunate this is in really good condition, but I think probably at some stage I'm going to need to probably change those transistors. It uses the OC series of transistors, so we haven't got the AF117s in these, and it's a 6-volt radio as well, not 9. So don't think you can stick a PP9. Well, you can stick a PP9 straight on that and stick 9 volts up it, but that ain't going to do it a lot of good. So again, I haven't turned this radio on probably for a year. So let's put some power on it to see if it works. So the transistor lineup, it looks like we've got an OC44, which is probably the oscillator. Then we've got OC45s as the IF, OC78D as the driver, and I think the outputs are OC78s. So again, all very rare transistors. So let's pop it onto medium wave. There we go.
He's a very, very gifted fella, but it's just sometimes go a little
scratchy volume pot.
What's the right?
Isn't there? There's an awful lot of gin. Not a gin, yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
Charlie and Gav, thank you so much for talking to me. And I hope that it stops raining.
Asked about his wish list. So I wanted to know.
It's actually quite sensitive. Let's try it on long wave.
Mark was killed by a German, Cell. Cell was Mengelé's protege at Auschwitz, and it crossed my mind. And I'm not saying this is happening.
Well, there you go. It still works. It needs a bit of a service, that one, so I might have to do that one, because it is what I would call, for one of these, it is a mint radio. It's about as good as you're ever going to find one of these. All I did really was cleaned it up. I polished up the little brass tops, but they've started to tarnish again now. I took the dial off and cleaned that, but I've not done any electrical work to it at all. So yeah, that's the Roberts RT1, their very first ever transistor radio. So, yeah, that's right. So what we've got here. Yeah, don't forget it is 6 volt. Don't get confused and put a 9 volt in it, Sean. Yeah, nice radio. And I know you were looking at the old Roberts stuff, and say if you can get hold of one of these in good condition, well worth having and keeping hold of. The only other one I've got to show you is the Roberts R200. Hopefully that's in shot. Let's have a look. No, it's not. So we need to be a bit more there. There we go. So this is the Roberts R200. Again, it's a little bit dusty. Again, I've not done any work on this. You notice the badge there. We've got the line underneath it now, which the RT1 never had. Exactly the same wave bands. The only thing you'll notice, it is a bit smaller than the RT1. So you see those side by side. The RT1 is a bigger radio. It's wider and taller. It's bigger all round, really, although it does look very similar. Let's get that one out of the way. Try not to lift them by the handles as well, because anybody that's got any of these knows that the handles are very, very fragile on these. This plastic can crack at any minute. Again, the actual leather cloth on this handle is absolutely perfect. So say this is a Roberts R200. This I think the Roberts 200 was before the Roberts 300, so this one would have followed on from probably the RT7, RT8. Then I think it was the R200. So very similar styling on the front. Again, this one is in really good condition. So let's have a look in the back. Now, anybody that's got the R200 knows. Yeah, the R500 is slightly smaller than the RT1 as well, Mike. I've got R500 here somewhere. Anybody that's got these knows there's 3 different versions. The later one has got the AF117 transistors in, which are a pain in the neck. But they did do some other improvements. It's probably worth getting the later one and sorting the AF117s out. So this is an earlier one. This is serial number 1919218, and this again has got the OC transistors in it. Again, in immaculate condition, apart from, and it's very common on these, in here we've got the dreaded battery leakage issue. Now, I'm not overly concerned with that, because these come up really nice. I've got some zinc spray out in the shed, and it's a fairly major job. You've got to basically strip the whole thing, leaving just this chassis. Just hit that back with a wire brush on an electric drill and respray it. They come up like brand new. So unfortunately someone's left a battery in there at some stage. It's leaked and caused that damage, which is a shame, but not irreparable. So yeah, we've got the same, pretty much the same lineup, I think, as the I can't read that. Holland, made in Holland, OC44 oscillator. Yeah, same lineup pretty much as the RT1, OC45 IF transistors. Can't read. OC81D drivers, probably OC81s. Yeah, OC81 outputs on it. Got the old Plessy capacitors. These are known problem capacitors. Again, I've not done any work on it. There's one hiding in behind the board as well. Yeah, Paul, it can be a pain to sort, but it's well worth stripping it out. I mean, I've done quite a few now. Done the battery trays on them. Provided you mask up the antenna bracket, it does all come apart, and you need to get it out and take it apart to do all the rest of the work on it, really. Because these old brown, I thought they were Hunts, but they might not be Hunts, but they are a pain. They mess up the audio. These are all in the audio section. And I think the newer ones, they've got them coming along here as well, but these usually have got to be changed as well. These brown things. I usually change this waxy as well. It's a wax capacitor there, but they're normally not too bad, the wax ones. It's these little brown ones that are way out. And you'll find these carbon resistors have all gone high as well. So there's issues with these old radios, but that's why we've got to repair them. Let's stick some power on it. So it's a 9-volt radio now, not a 6-volt. So again, I've got current limited supply. Amazingly, that's working as well. It's very low volume, mind you. My light's interfering with it a bit, but it is working. So again, that needs a good going through, a good service, and it needs capacitors changing. Once those caps are done, that'll be like a brand new radio. These brights, if you take these off, they've got like a little grub screw in the knob. You can see it there. Just undo the grub screws, these pop off. Leave them soaking in some soapy water, and these will just lift off. Then you can polish them up with some Brasso, and they come up like brand new. You know, even this tarnish you can see on this one, that'll come up like brand new. So yeah, there you go. That's the Roberts R200. Now the only R300 I've got, I don't even know if that is a 300. That might be a 500. That might be a 300. So the only difference really is the case is different. You've got this brass insert on the R300. I'm not sure if that's an R500 or a 300. I don't know. It's a work in progress. I've got the chassis for it under there as well somewhere. And again, the display is, the dial is slightly different on the R300. That might be an R500 actually. Yeah, there we are. So I can smell my my roast dinner cooking down there. Give the ferrite a squeeze. Yeah, these slow motion dials, like Sean is saying, it's, you know, really, it's really fine tuning. That the way they've done that is really good. There's lots of issues with the R200s. I mean, I have done a couple of videos on them, but not done a massive amount. I've restored quite a few of these for customers, and I've got some videos stored, but I haven't got it out there yet. As I say, I've got the Sony ICF 77 coming out next. You're clearing out some radios and parts soon, are you, John? Yeah, let us know what you got, John. I mean, I know you were going to pop me a box of bits, weren't you, in, but what else have we got here? Yeah, Paul likes the R200. It does sound nice. They got a nice big wooden case, and like Rob says, it's proper plywood and wood. None of this MDF rubbish like the modern ones use. And this is pretty robust, the Rexine on them as well. Yeah, Roberts did do the Revival series, but I mean, I've got a Revival radio down here. You'll like this beauty. Let's just blow the dust off. This, unfortunately, is what modern Roberts radios are covered in. I mean, that's a brand new aerial I've got for it there. So this radio I bought in to recover for my good lady. I was going to cover it in some nice leopard print, some fabric, but I haven't got round to it yet. It's a Roberts DAB radio. It's an RD60, I believe. It does work, but you can tell the quality materials these days. I mean, look at this stuff. It's peeling off. These are terrible. The finish fabric is rubbish on them. I have got all the bits from Roberts to do this, and we just haven't got round to it yet. But this is all MDF. The cabinet, there's a little tiny circuit board up and underneath here, and that's it. Speaker's not bad. Nice metal 8-ohm speaker, 3 watt by the looks of it. Yeah, so the Roberts RD60 DAB radio. I think it does FM as well, but it does work. But it needs totally stripping and recovering. I mean, the aerial's knackered, but I have a spare aerial, so yeah. So that's the difference. Although yes, it's a Revival, you know, the build quality is totally different, really different. So they look nice, but it's all gone to power horrible stuff. Actually, I've got to get that all over my hands now. These badges are incidentally still available. They will fit on the older radios, but you need to redrill them because they don't line up, as I'm sure John will tell you, because I let him have one. But, there we are. So anyone got any questions or queries before I shoot off then? Because I've got to go and have something to eat now. It's not letting me in there. Right. Revivals are your bread and butter. Do you recover them then, Paul, do you? You're going to need to give me some tips then, Paul, on recovering these, because I've not done one yet. I've recovered a hacker before, but not one of those new Roberts. I know that there's a few people have got businesses just recovering those. Yeah, but you don't need to worry about what's inside, Paul. It's the outer that makes it look nice. Cheers, Mike. So that's fine, John. Just let me know what you got, John, and you never know, something might interest me. Let's just get this zoom back out again now. And get my mug back in shot for sort of finale. I think I'm back in shot now. I haven't got a clue, but you know, what the hell. Yeah, certainly I would like to recover that radio. I think I did want to do it in sort of not a big fur, but more like a velvety, sort of like a real fine fur. If I could get a leopard print fur, but really like fine, tight knit, then that would be brilliant. I have taken DAB radios apart, Paul, and they're usually all glued together and pretty rubbish. But I have got a couple DAB radios that do sound quite nice, actually, a couple of Roberts ones, so I can't totally trash them. I do listen to one that was my mum's set. She used to have it beside her bed, so that's got personal significance for me, so I'm never going to get rid of that one. And I do listen to Gold on it, which I can't get on the normal ones. But I'd say the sets I've got in my work room at the moment are, I've got two Hacker Hunters in there, which I listen to FM on. And if I want to listen to someone on DAB, then I pop the Roberts on. They're definitely not built to be serviced, John. I can definitely vouch for that. 2.5 hours, is it really? I'm going to be in trouble. Sounds like my tea's cooked. I haven't even had my dinner yet. Yeah, I suspect they are. They are, Paul. I've not taken one apart yet, to be fair. I will have a go, though. Got haven't we? Because although at the moment we call the DAB radios junk and not very good and all the rest of it, in 10, 20 years time, you know, that could be what people are collecting, you know, and they don't want the older stuff. Internet radios, I don't know, Sean. I've not used them. I've not got an internet radio. I don't possess one. If I want internet radio, I just stick it on my phone and then plug it into. I've got like an iPod dock. I've got a Bose sound dock, and I've got another weird and wonderful thing. I can't remember the name of it now. But I tend to listen to, if I want to listen to a radio station that I can't get on FM, I'll stick it on that. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Paul. I have got a 250 and a 550 knocking about somewhere. Both need recovering, so I will have to have a go. You're not saying it's impossible, though, Paul. It can be done, I'm sure. It is at the moment, John, isn't it? But one day they will be old radios, won't they? If you look at the stuff like the cars and that we were driving back in the I passed my test in the early 80s. My first car was a Ford Capri. And I think I paid £1,000 for that. It was my first car I ever bought when I got to the age of 18. I mean that car that I paid £1,000 for, which was a lot of money back then, I had to have a bank loan to pay for it. They're like 15 grand now. If I looked, I always have a nosy because I like cars as well. I like messing with cars and I like the cars. And you wouldn't believe the prices that stuff that we took for granted back in the 80s is going for now. That Ford Escort Mark 1 and 2s. I mean, they were rust buckets, you know, and for one to survive has got to be pretty good. But yeah, they were classed as junk cars really back in the day. You know, they were never highly regarded, but nowadays, you know, people pay a lot of money for them. Are you're going to do them for me, Paul? What, the R200, 250s and R550s? I mean, I could get the dab one apart. I'd like to give that to my missus for Christmas, actually, but don't tell her, it's a secret. She's not listening, hopefully. She's downstairs. But yeah, certainly stuff that we consider to be cheap rubbish now, in years to come, you just never know. What do you put back, you know? I mean, stuff like this, you know, that's always going to be collectible, and they're just going to go up in value as the years go by. And especially if you can get one in really good condition, because, you know, with age they deteriorate. Right, well, I'm going to make a move now anyway. I think I've covered pretty much everything. Who knows what will come in next week? I've got plenty of projects underway, loads of videos. I don't think I've got any more literature coming in. In fact, no, I might have, because Rob's visiting again this week, I think. So, any more? Anybody else got any questions before I go? By all means, you can leave comments in this video. I always reply to comments. It might take me a day or so sometimes to reply to them, but I always will reply. And don't forget my Facebook page, Radiocruncher on Facebook. Again, if you drop me a message on Facebook, I can always add you to my Messenger, so you can chat with me on Messenger. Apologies if I don't always reply on Messenger, but the photo work is quite busy at the moment. In fact, I've got four that were issued over this weekend that I've got to go to early part of next week. I've just had another one drop in today for some reason. I don't normally get jobs on Sunday. You got no hedgehog fur. Well, that's disappointing. Cool. I would have liked that. My email anyway, haven't you? Cheers, John. Yeah, I'm the same, mate. I've got to eat, really. The beer's keeping me going at the moment, getting my carbs going, so I could have some lunch myself. So I'll catch you all. I might be on next Sunday. It really depends what time I get back from Cornwall. I suppose I'll kick us out about 10 o'clock. Probably have a mooch around, walk off any alcohol in the system, and make our way back up for probably about midday. So I might come on later in the afternoon. So we'll see. See how this week pans out really in the system, and make our way back up for probably about midday. So I might come on later in the afternoon. So we'll see. See how this week pans out really. So thanks everybody again for joining me. Cheers, Sean. Hope you get well soon, mate. Contribute, same thing. All well and good. And thanks to John as well for joining us with his with anyone wants to contribute, same thing. All well and good. And thanks to John as well for joining us with his printing stuff. And John does a lot of 3D printing as well. We sort of share ideas and bits and pieces. So he's always got something going. Oh, just on a final note, I had to change this blimmin' thing again this week. These are a pain in the neck, these Duratool soldering irons. If you forget and leave this thing on, it must, I don't know, the lifetime just disappears on it. I forgot, a couple of weeks ago, I left it on overnight, and come in the morning, oh, damn, I left it on overnight, turned it off. And lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, the element's gone again, so I had to put another element in it. I think that's my fourth element in that iron in a couple of years, which is quite a lot, really. But I do keep forgetting to turn the thing off, so always remember to turn your soldering iron off, and you won't have to keep buying new elements. But at least it is serviceable, which is a thumbs up for Duratool, really. You can still get the bits. Anyway, thanks everybody for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it today. It's been a bit of a long one, a bit of a waffle on, but hopefully some good content, and see you